What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing another study video. Who could have guessed? So today I wanted to do how to get a H1 in maths. Technically I cannot guarantee you that H1 because I have not done my leaving cert yet, but I have only ever gotten H1s in maths. I think that's the only H1 that I'm actually positive that I'm gonna get this year. I did a 5th year summer results video a couple of months ago and I got 99% on my maths test, and a lot of you guys after that were like, please make a video on how you study maths. To be honest, this was kind of difficult to think of things, but I really sat down and I thought about it, and I think there are little things that I do that really help me, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. So all of the tips that I give you are things that I also do or have done, except for one thing that I'm not doing right now, but I'm gonna put it first because honestly I think everyone should be doing this, including me. I'm gonna start doing this soon. I don't know why I'm not doing it right now. In the Leaving Cert Maths course, we have construction, theorems, derivations. We have to prove things, and these are things that you don't necessarily have to understand. You just have to learn them off and know them. I think really what we should be doing is we should make a list of all the theorems, all the constructions, all the proofs that we have to do, and tackle one at a time, one per week, and slowly get through them, start repeating them. So if you're not doing it already, I would recommend to do that. I'm also going to start doing that because that is one thing on this list that I don't do. My second tip is to strengthen your algebra. This sounds really odd, but I swear to God, algebra is the core of so many maths chapters, like so many maths chapters. Out of these books, there is a reason that there are 3 algebra chapters, because algebra really is the core for what we're doing. Obviously, if you're doing something like financial maths, maybe you're not going to be having to do that much algebra, but honestly, I think algebra fits in everywhere. You need to know your basics, because once you know your basics, that's when you start building upon it to develop your skill in something. But if you're really struggling with the basics, then you're not going to learn anything on top of it. My third tip is when you're doing the exam, do not skip any steps. Treat the examiner as if he is a child. Explain everything to him. Show him every single step. In an exam, I always worry about not having enough time and I start rushing and I skip so many steps, and I've missed out on points just because I skip steps, even though the answer is correct. But they can't see my thought process. They can't see why I'm getting from this to this. This could depend on your teacher. Maybe the examiner wouldn't be that harsh, but it has happened to me that I would get 1 mark or 2 taken off just because I skipped so many steps. Don't give them a reason to take marks off you. My fourth tip is kind of similar to my last one. It's also about your exam. Don't tip-X your answers out, because like I said, you need to show the examiner your full thought process. If you did something and it's wrong, put it in brackets and put 1 line through it, so the examiner knows that you're not using that, but he can still see what you did, because you never know. They will give you marks for the weirdest things. So don't tip-X anything out. I would recommend do the exam in pencil. Marks get given so randomly, so do not tip-X anything out. Tip number 5 is to use your online resources. Khan Academy is so good for maths. It is so detailed. There's so many chapters. Anything you need will be there. It explains much more in depth than they personally do in our classes, because in our classes they really rush to get through topics because we don't have enough time. But when you go home, if you really don't understand something, it's not that difficult to go on Khan Academy or on YouTube and look it up. Things will definitely be up there, and maybe if you watch 1 video, you're still not gonna get it. If you watch 2 videos, you're still not gonna get it. But maybe after watching 3 or 4, you're slowly gonna start getting it, and it's better than not getting it at all. If you did some difficult chapter in school and you come home and you're very unmotivated because you're like, I don't understand anything the teacher said in that class, come home and research, because the internet can have many advantages if you use it right. Tip number 6 is kind of an odd one. I started doing this recently and it's actually kind of changing my life for physics and for maths. Basically, anytime I use my logbook, I close it straight away. And then the thing is, if I'm doing exam paper questions, I need my logbook almost every question, but I keep closing it and I keep opening it because, in my opinion, that gets you so familiar with the logbook. At this point, I've built a habit that sometimes I'll open a page and I'll know automatically, oh, the thing that I'm looking for is 2 pages ahead of this. I'm not learning off pages, but automatically when you close it every time you use it, you go back to open it and slowly you just know where everything is. It sounds stupid, but it can save you a good 2 minutes in an exam. It's a small little tip, but I think it's worth trying. Tip number 7 is to study with somebody else. I feel so deeply that maths and physics and applied maths, they are subjects that are perfect for studying with other people because it's not just learning off theory, it's practical. You need to know and understand where everything is coming from, why you're doing this. If you're studying with someone else, it is more guaranteed that one of you will figure out how to do it, because obviously 2 brains is better than 1. It's just better than studying alone. First of all, you don't feel lonely. Second of all, if one of you gets it and one of you doesn't, you can explain it to the other person in your own terms and not like teachers who move super quickly. And at the same time, if you're teaching your friend, you're also strengthening your knowledge because you're teaching someone. If you look back at my weekly vlogs or productive day vlogs, I go to Starbucks with Catherine like once a week. We study physics and maths all the time. It is life-changing. Me and Catherine have studied maths together on FaceTime, and it's really nice. It's actually fun, and it doesn't feel like you're studying, but you're learning a lot at the same time. Tip number 8, this is not a very practical tip, this is more of a mental tip, but stop being so negative about maths. All my life, I've been that person who loves maths. Like, even if I don't get it, I'm like, oh my god, this is so fun, I'm so excited to learn. I come to class and I'm excited. I pay attention because I'm happy. I understand that everyone has their own thing. Like, say for example with English, I'm really bad at English and I'm really negative about it, but this whole thing, it's honestly like a meme. Maths is just like a world-known hated subject. Like, I don't know why people hate maths so much. A couple of years ago, I wasn't that good at maths. I was just like normal. I wasn't bad or good at maths, but I loved maths so much, and every time I came to maths class I paid full attention. I did extra work just because I literally found it fun. I would watch videos. During summer of first year, I taught myself trigonometry, and we only did trigonometry in like 3rd year, but I already had it covered in 1st year just because it was so fun to me to learn. And I know not everyone is gonna have that, but I think changing your attitude can change a lot. I guess at the end of the day, I can't really tell you what to like and what not to like, but I think this whole like negative thing about maths has to end because it's not that bad. It's really interesting once you get into it. So those were my 8 tips, but I'm gonna quickly tell you guys exactly the process of how I study maths. So the first thing that I do is I obviously choose a chapter that I'm gonna be doing. I do as many questions as possible, and any time that I don't get a question and I have to go and look at the marking scheme, I put a little star beside that question and I move on and I keep going. When you finish all of the exam papers for that chapter, you go back to the things that you put a star at. You look at the question and you're like, how is this different from the other ones? Why is this one more difficult to me than this one? So once you kind of know where your problem areas are, I would go back to the book and I would start from the start of the chapter and I would start flicking through the chapter, and anytime I notice something that I'm like, okay, I don't really get that, or a question came up using this and I don't know why they're using this, I really read stuff slowly and I do the questions from the book, because usually I wouldn't recommend to do the questions from the book because the exam paper questions are quite different. But if there's a core element that you're not understanding, I would do as many questions from the book as possible because they really take it one step at a time. They make each question a little bit more difficult, but they do it so slowly to the point that you'll slowly understand what you're not getting. So as soon as you understand why you didn't get the question originally, I would say do it again straight away and then keep it starred, write it down somewhere, and then maybe in a week or 2 go back and check if you could do it again, and if you can't, you repeat the process, and if you can, repeat it again in a month. So I do my exam paper questions on my iPad because I could just write it with an Apple Pencil, but basically this wasn't even that difficult of a question, but I just didn't really get it. So I started it, I tried it, I looked at the marking scheme, I understood how they got everything, but I still kept the star there. So then I know that in about a week or maybe 2 weeks, I have to go back and I have to redo those questions because those are the ones that I struggled with initially. Do a lot of exam papers, but if you ever need to look back at references, use the book like a Bible. So I hope that was helpful to any of you. I don't really have any more math tips. This is just kind of how I maintain my grade. I have a leaving cert survival guide video where I have a bunch of random tips. I don't give general tips. It's not going to be like drink water, get enough sleep. It is very specific random tips that I think would help anyone doing their leaving cert. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Making money like a mint, laying in my ice like shrimp, making dishes